The block was a bit of a blunder, and it's the second time it's happened now where they've tried this regional play and it hasn't worked out. And yeah, there's been a couple of people who have been caught out, right? Like the poor contestants have put their blood, sweat, and tears. I think a couple of them lost their jobs. Some of them might have quit their work as well because they've said, we've gotten onto the block. This is the dream. We're going to make hundreds of thousands of dollars and we're going to be able to create a career around this. And that hasn't been the case. There's only one that has sold for a significant amount of money, like $400,000, plus they got the 100K bonus. But I'm going to break down my reasons as to why the block has failed. And yeah, just some notes for the producers, which they probably don't care about. But we also do this on YouTube, so I'm going to explain this as best I can. But for those that are listening in, if you wanted to go and check out more and see my screen, you can go to our YouTube channel, which is just James Rankin Property. So you can go check it out there. So on the screen, I've got the domain listing. These properties are still for sale. The 6th of November, number 4 Cedar and 5 Cedar. And yeah, these are the leftover houses. And it's a real shame for these guys because, yeah, as I said earlier, they put their heart and soul into it. But the things that jump out at me, so I actually went up here on the weekend and had a look at it in the flesh. So I've got even more points than I did previously when I was just checking it out online. But one of the key things for me is they just haven't met the market. So, you know, when you're looking at the supply and demand of a certain location, there's not a lot of people moving up to Daylesford with a $3 million budget that want to be in a housing estate. Now, this is in a housing estate. No matter which way you put it, it's a housing estate. I drove past it. It's literally a part of a housing estate. And that's, to me, where a lot of the problem begins in terms of the buyer, like the ones that are going to be preferred or the ones that are going to be suited to that type of scenario, right? If I was spending $3 million in Daylesford, I'm not buying in a bloody estate, I can tell you right now. So the houses are gorgeous. Like this one, I love the decor and the way that they've built it. Like that bathtub's pretty special, even though it might be a showpiece. But just the way they've done it I'm going to keep saying it, like it is a real shame that these poor contestants haven't sold. But this is 100% like they've done really well with the fit out. Gorgeous homes. The externals have a lot to be desired and the floor plans have a lot to be desired, and I'll jump into that. But these pools, these are plungies, right? So nothing wrong with a plungie. I've ordered them before, like we're going to put them into a property. No issues with a plungie, but not when you're on 2,000 square meters. That deserves like a really nice pool. This is just a piece of concrete that's dropped in, and they don't have the option of a spa, so you have to put in a smaller plungie, which can be turned into a spa. I think that's what they've tried to create here. So this aesthetic, it doesn't really, again, meet the price point of $3 million in Daylesford. It really does deserve something a bit more than that. But this is where the producers have just gone, it's promotional money, or it's the people who are sponsored the show, they're the ones that get to supply all the goods and things like that. Again, they're just after that money side of things, and it hasn't resulted in, a good outcome. This outlook, what's going to happen here is you can see some little signs there. That is the estate. So when I drove past this, you can drive literally down the side of it, and I'll show in a map, actually. Maybe I'll just flick over to there now. So this is the road coming into where the block is, and this is where the block is. So on the left here, this is house 1, and you can see straight into there. Like you can see there's hoarding up there at the moment, but yeah, as you're approaching here, this is exactly where the houses start along here. So the one that sold straight away was the one at the end, and that makes sense. Yeah, that's a good location, or the best location out of these particular properties. But this one on the corner here, and then obviously these ones here, it just doesn't offer a lot of privacy. Now, this is where I think it's here, or maybe the road's here now. They've created a new road that goes straight down here, and then it curves around, and there's a U-turn or an end of a court, and that looks straight into the back of all of these properties. So that, again, there's not going to be any privacy. And if we go back to this image here, That's all going to be built out with townhouses. So it's marked as an eco village. There's 68 blocks on this estate. So it's not going to be very private. And as I said, that house number, I think it's this one. Yeah, it's this dark colored one. You can see like out the back here, there's like a street pole there. Maybe I can zoom in a little bit. Yeah, you can't really see it, but there is a street pole there, and that's that street that goes out the back. But again, house is gorgeous. They've fitted it out really well. I just wonder if they've cheekily not shown any of those back photos. Yeah, they've done it on purpose. But as soon as you go out the back, this is quite elevated. Like the house is really sitting up quite high, and you can see straight into the back. Like when you drive around here, you can see straight into the property. So, anyone that's purchasing that would, I don't know, I don't even know what you would do, because the fence line is, if you can imagine the house, like this bottom part of the house, when you look at it at the back, the fence doesn't even get that high. Everything above that fence line is pretty much house. And yeah, there's a lot of exposed area there. So that's one of the biggest faults I can see. And then if we go to the floor plan, as I mentioned earlier, the floor plan for me is a big component to people purchasing. They're all identical floor plans. So whilst they might look a little bit different, they're all identical. So there's no scarcity on that, but they've got different facades. They've got different decor inside them. So for me, $3 million house, a master bedroom entering into a galley kitchen, massive red flag, like massive no-no. If I'm paying that much for a property, I don't want to be waking up in the morning and going bang straight into someone cooking breakfast. Like that doesn't make sense to me. Some people will hate the fact that the laundry's in the pantry. I have heard a few comments around this. And then the other part is this garage. So my partner, she hates reversing into anything. So if you're living here and you've got to drive in and then reverse, or you've got to try and get your car around there, it's going to be a 58-point turn just to get into the garage. They should have put a turntable in. For the amount of money that they've spent on these properties, they should have put a $25,000 turntable in and resolved that problem. And that's what I would do if I bought them, but massive issue. And going back to the scarcity factor, it's just what else you can buy up there. This is within the same price point. I know it's not sold yet, so this thing could sell for over $3 million. But in terms of the privacy, that's not getting built out. That is a bush reserve. You have got a neighbor here, but this is an acre, so it's double the land, and it just offers privacy. So it is a slightly different type of build. It doesn't have a pool and those types of things. But for me, that is more what Daylesford would look like. And then we've got a couple of other properties. Again, it's pretty cool in terms of what they've built here. Yeah, very unique house, minimalist, but in the bush. I think it's a similar size block to, the block houses around that, half an acre. And then you've got something like this too. So this is on a hectare or nearly a hectare, which is 4 times as big as the block houses. And yeah, it's just what you can get for your money up there. If you're looking around that, this is nearly $1 million cheaper than what the most expensive one sold for. Yeah, you start to look at these things and you're going, yeah, I probably would rather this. Even though the house is significantly smaller, I would opt for this than the block houses. But yeah, they really cooked the location. If these houses were on an acre, like if they had bought 5 acre blocks out in the bush somewhere or a bit further out of town, they certainly would have done better. That's my opinion. But yeah, this is gorgeous houses. They just absolutely stuffed up the location. If I go back down here as well, just to round it out, this roundabout to round it out. But yeah, they're on this intersection. And you've got the farmer's market. So if anyone's been to Daylesford, this is the farmer's market up here. It gets bloody busy. Like we drove through there on the weekend and it's super, super busy. But it's also a commercial location. So you've got a pub there. You've got a stock feed place over here. I think it's Pet Stock now. And then you've got Mitre 10 on the other corner. But if you're paying $3 million, do you really want to be looking across the road at all this crap? Like, I know I wouldn't. And that again just adds to my belief that these properties would have sold if they were in a better location. So yes, please next time block producers find a better location for your contestants. I get it, it's all a money-making exercise, but yeah, they could have got a much, much better result. I'm happy to consult and purchase the blocks if you want as well. But that will be the end of the pod. Everyone have a good day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.